Most were deeply skeptical about his chances. "He's such a dreamer," a White House official said, with a note of sarcasm. Running out of time, Trump headed to Asia on Friday as a senior aide warned the world is running out of time on the North Korea crisis. Behind the scenes, Yoon is trying to keep open a fragile line of communication that could be used to prevent any miscalculation by one side or the other from spiraling into military conflict. Further aggravating tensions, 2 U.S. strategic bombers conducted drills over South Korea on Thursday. That followed word from South Korea's spy agency that North Korea may be preparing another missile launch. U.S. officials have said privately that intercepting a test missile is among options under consideration, though there is disagreement within the administration about the risks. In the midst of this is Yoon, a soft-spoken, 32-year Foreign Service veteran who took on the job a year ago, near the end of the Obama administration. Concern about Yoon's difficulties has surfaced in Seoul, where he visits regularly and where Trump will travel next week on the second stop of his Asian tour. Several South Korean officials expressed worry that Yoon's diplomatic efforts with North Korea lack any real underpinning of support from the White House. "Things are clearly not easy for him," one South Korean diplomat said. Yoon is precisely that person, to talk to North Korea, but Trump is killing the whole process. Several officials familiar with those discussions say Pompeo is feeding Trump assessments that U.S. military threats will force Kim to bow to U.S. demands for nuclear disarmament, a position that some U.S. intelligence officers privately contest. The CIA declined comment. North Korean negotiator shocked the one tangible achievement of Yoon's diplomatic efforts in the past year was winning the release of 22-year-old Warmbier in secret talks with North Korean officials in Oslo and New York. Yoon flew to Pyongyang in June to medically evacuate Warmbier. When Ko Sun-hwa, head of the North Korean Foreign Ministry's North America Bureau, met Yoon in Oslo, she was unaware of how serious Warmbier's condition was, a source in Washington knowledgeable about the matter said. But once she learned about it she was shocked and Yoon was summoned urgently to meet a North Korean diplomat in New York, which quickly led to Warmbier's return home, the source said. Warmbier's death complicated Yoon's efforts as it contributed to a chilling of Korean contacts around that time, the State Department official said. Stumbling in the dark despite Trump's threats of military action against Pyongyang, the State Department official said Yoon's view was the less you engage diplomatically, the more likely you are in the dark. Even so, Trump's rhetoric has raised questions among allies, and possibly even in North Korea, about how serious, if at all, his administration is about diplomacy and how much of a mandate Yoon may have to pursue it. Trump personalized the conflict, deriding Kim as "Little Rocket Man," against the advice of his national security and intelligence experts, some of whom warned it could be counterproductive, a senior national security official said. A South Korean official in Seoul said it was necessary for Washington to have someone in contact with North Korea to help spur future negotiations if they are ever to take hold. Former U.S. negotiators sympathize with Yoon, whose authority to negotiate has been undercut by the tug-of-war between a White House breathing fire and a State Department pushing a peaceful solution. "Nobody doubted my authority," said Wendy Sherman, one of the lead U.S. negotiators who achieved the 2015 deal under which Iran agreed to restrain its nuclear program in return for relief from economic sanctions. "All of this undermines our ability to do the job."